Hey, this is Manuel Barbará. I'm a solo artist doing instrumental prog metal. I'm here to talk a little bit about my project and what I do and answer some questions. So, this project really got started in the summer of 2018. A lot of the music was around beforehand in some form or another, but a lot of it was stuff I wrote for bands that just never ended up happening. So I decided to take all of it and polish it up over that summer, recorded all the guitars in a couple weeks at the end. The next 2 years we went through a lot of struggles, got drums and bass done with my good friends Nick Thorpe and Joey Ferretti. Did the drums at Mad Oak Studios, which was a cool experience for all of us. One of my main goals with this project is to kind of take my training as a classical tradition composer and apply it to the prog metal style. Although I think that can be a little misleading because you think neoclassical, you think Yngwie doing Bach on electric guitars, all that kind of thing. I really want to take the compositional ideas and attitudes and tricks that came towards the end of the 19th and through the 20th century into the modern times and apply them to this really beefy, heavy style of music. The album art, I reached out to an old friend of mine from high school, Andy Tohill, who I've kept in touch with on and off over the years. I knew I wanted a sketchier sort of, parchment type look to it. Wanted this moon over a kind of a frozen lake sort of affair, and she really delivered. We spent a lot of time picking the fonts, picking the background, and it really came together really nicely. Really happy with that. I chose to make this instrumental because I didn't want to deal with the singer, to be honest, but I also wanted to see what I could say in this instrumental metal style that basically everyone does and is super saturated. I wanted to see if I could make it something that I'm saying instead of just a collection of flashy guitar, hey, look at me, I can play 3,000 beats per minute. I think I managed it. I'm very heavily influenced by guys like Keith Merrow, who I feel capture that sort of telling a story, giving an ambiance with these instrumental riffy guitar things. So I'm pretty happy with that decision and with how it turned out. Do I think it's important to have a label deal? It depends on what the label deal can deliver. All this stuff is basically recorded direct into the computer, except for the drums. It's really easy to do most of this on a reasonably limited budget. So the real advantage of the label deal is promotion and is, where can they get you playing? And I think it's totally feasible to do it on your own. I think if the label deal is a good deal, then I think I would take it, but as it is, I'm perfectly happy doing this stuff on my own. New music that's impressed me. I recently got into a tech death band called Inferi, at the suggestion of a good friend of mine, Mike Bala. He's tech death guy. So that's really cool. It's really like modern Black Dahlia type stuff with all kinds of neat orchestration. I've been really enjoying the Deer Hunter recently, which is totally not metal, but it's a lot of fun. And I got into a composer by the name of Toru Takemitsu earlier this year. I was introduced to him by a professor of mine. So if you're into that kind of post-classical stuff, totally recommend checking him out. Other than that, there's all kinds of really cool stuff in the modern scene. There's all the prog gent guys, Ginger, Spirit Box is really cool. They're a little newer. The new, what is it? The new Architects is really cool. Anyway, how do I feel the COVID-19 pandemic will affect the music scene? Well, it's going to affect the local music scenes a lot more than anything else, with all the venues closing down. That makes it a lot more difficult for smaller artists to get gigs in places, and that that bubbles back up and through the whole scene. All the the promoters, people who put the concerts together, are going to have a little bit of a harder time when music starts up again. But I also think a lot of artists are having to find other ways to make a living at the moment, and we're probably going to be feeling the effects of all that for a pretty long time. My local music scene, I'm New Jersey based, but until recently I was based in Boston, so I'm going to talk about that scene. That scene is awesome. There's all kinds of cool stuff coming out of there. There is Myth of I, big deal from the Boston Berklee College of Music scene. My friend Emune, Zach Monowitz, he's in New York now, but he was doing some really cool stuff. My friends they recently changed their name. Soma Diva, I think, is the name now. They're cool. They got some cool stuff going on. If you like kind of symphonic death metal, Vivisepulture is great. So there's a lot of really interesting stuff coming out of the scene, as you would expect. It's a big city, there's a lot of music. There's a lot of music schools, a lot of colleges. Big city, small city, but nice city. What are my future plans? After the cycle for this album is done, I have another thing that's pretty solidly in the works. It needs a little bit more recording and then goes to the mix engineer. Beyond that, I want to just keep writing more music. I want the next album to not take as long as this one did. Hopefully when shows come back, I'll be able to start playing some of this stuff live, but for now I'm just going to keep making more music, keep doing what I'm doing. That's all from me. Bye.